Welcome, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, humans. And as always, any animal companions who are around you who might like to participate or even just observe. And welcoming our guests as we always do from the more than just human world. See if you can identify who these folks are. Honestly, I could listen to that for quite some time. There's a little bit of a joyous sound. That's a little bit of a joyous sound to me. And I'm wondering if you had any ideas. These are sea otters. It is Sea Otter Awareness Month. So, those are the sounds of these fascinating, playful, adaptable creatures who have a significant role in maintaining complex underwater ecosystems that benefit so many countless marine species. And I didn't know this. They actually even help absorb carbon from the atmosphere, not the otters themselves, the ecosystems they help create. So, welcome to Compassion Consortium. I'm Reverend Sarah Bowen, and I'm joined today by co-founders Reverend William Melton, Victoria Moran, and also by Animal Chaplain Jen Baker, our Director of Engagement, and our irreplaceable, I can't even pronounce it, Phil, you have me so, irreplaceable techie Phil. Our special spiritual guest for today is Lisa Levinson from In Defense of Animals, who we know well, and we are so delighted to hear from her and what she has to share with us today. In order to ensure we don't have disruptions during the service, we've turned off most of the Zoom sharing functions. So if you're looking for them, they are not there. But we look forward to seeing and hearing your voices later in our small group fellowship time after the service. We meet for this Sunday service on the third Sunday of every month. If you're new to us, welcome. We are an interfaith, an interspiritual, and interspecies community. And if those concepts are new to you, you can read more about our approach at the link I'll put into the chat, which is compassionconsortium.org/about for those of you watching on the replay. Hello, future people. At the beginning of every Sunday service, I offer some sort of acknowledgement about the beings of a particular place I'm in. As you can probably tell from my background, I am not at home, but I am currently in a habitat sometimes described as Flower Town in the Pines. Flower Town in the Pines. For its ecological heritage of pine forest with understory flora, also known as Summerville, South Carolina. All around live so-called wading birds, the great blue herons, the snowy egrets, the ibises, as well as plenty of other animals, including my favorite today, the Carolina gopher frog. I am always intrigued by animals who have another animal's name in their name. I didn't go down the Google trail on that yet, but perhaps you will after the service, and I know I will. For the rest of my opening remarks today, I want to talk about an email notification I received announcing that Pope Leo's prayer intention for September of 2025 was about the earthly community. And here's what he said, quote, "For our relationship with all of creation, let us pray that, inspired by Saint Francis, we might experience our interdependence with all creatures who are loved by God and worthy of love and respect." End quote. This is one of those statements that is simultaneously shiny and prickly for me. Shiny and prickly are two words I often use to try to get outside of binary thinking of like right or wrong, good or bad, so that I can engage through complexity theory. Binary thinking can create blockages, right? Where there's no reconciliation that can happen. There's no thinking that happens. We're like doubled down in our position. And it can also cause us to fall into hopelessness and despair and anger and all sorts of other feelings that keep us stuck in something. So here's how shiny and prickly works. I find it shiny that Pope Leo acknowledges that all creatures are loved by God and worthy of love and respect. And I also find it shiny that he also acknowledges we are in a relationship with all of creation, which, according to his religious tradition, carries physical, theological, and spiritual meanings. So Roman Catholicism's creation includes the material universe, the earth, the animals, the plants, the people, and even invisible realms like angels and such. And I also get prickly about what I read. Here's why. The word respect means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. It's endlessly subjective. What does respecting a sea otter or a cat or a cow or pig or a Carolina gopher frog mean? The word respect is a great start. And I'd also like to see some more specificity about what that word means for Pope Leo. The second prickly for me is the word interdependence. I often hear this word used to explain why we humans need animals for such and such a reason. So, whether that be for, depending on where you live and your culture, to be for transportation, or need them to be for food, or for research subjects, or I'm even going to go here for companionship. So, this is often referred to as needing animals for survival. In some ways, interdependent survival could be a fair case. Bees pollinate plants, and without them in the world, we're going to be hand pollinating using bee like drones and relying on wind pollution and coming up with other creative ideas. So, bees out in the world pollinating, shiny. Bees under our dominion, when we choose where and how they pollinate, is much more difficult to untangle. It's prickly for me. So there's a lot of debate about us needing these animals. And there's something in there that I can't deny, which is that creatures on this planet, landforms, waters, the leafy ones, all being, perhaps even angels, other dimensional, interdimensional creatures, are connected, right? They are connected in a lot of ways. But is there a way to better describe and consider that complexity and forefront creaturely autonomy than interdependence, which is so problematic? Interbeing is a term that some of you might be familiar with. It was popularized by Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a Vietnamese Zen Buddhist monk, teacher, poet, peace activist who we lost recently from this earthly realm. Interbeing acknowledges that nothing exists by itself. Everything and everyone exists only through relationship with everything and everyone else. It means that harming animals or habitats or bees or other people is also harming ourselves and ultimately harming the greater wholeness of all that is, if I want to get a little theological or spiritual on that. While interdependence often justifies animal use or tries to justify animal use, interbeing challenges the idea of use itself altogether. If humans and animals and landforms inter-are, then exploitation of any kind breaks the wholeness and violates that shared fabric of being. So here's where I ended up. I mashed up Pope Leo's prayer intention and Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings, and I threw in a few of my own flourishes. For our relationship with all of creation, inspired by wise others and our own life experiences, let us pray that we might experience our interbeing with all creatures, each of which is worthy of love and the deepest respect we can offer in each and every situation we find ourselves in. How did I do? I'll put the words in the chat and invite you to edit them for yourself if you find them meaningful to use for your prayer intention or your meditation intention or your focus intention for the coming month. How does working with this concept of shiny and prickly and engaging with complexity theory help us not get stuck, help us move into action, and help us better understand the very, very messy world we live in? That's it for me, folks. Over to you, William and Jen.
At the beginning of each Sunday service, we remind ourselves of the tenets of agreement, which this community strives to uphold. Each month, we focus on one tenet. This month, it is Tenet 8, and it will be read by Compassion Consortium founder William Melton. As William reads the words aloud, we encourage everyone to take time to contemplate how the tenets can impact and influence your daily life. If you are unfamiliar with all 10 of our tenets, please read the full list at the link that will be placed in the chat.
Thank you. This is number 8. We aim to provide spiritual comfort, fellowship, and food for thought to those practicing or exploring a vegan lifestyle. Thank you.
Let's just take a moment to mindfully meditate on this idea. Maybe take a deep breath. Back over to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Jen, for engaging us in a moment there. Each month, we bring you all a practice in the hopes that it gives you a chance to rejuvenate, restore your energy, and also practice compassion for other species. So today, in honor of Rosh Hashanah, one of the Jewish high holy days that's just about upon us, we are revisiting a practice from one of our services created during Compassion Consortium's first year. So this may look familiar if you were with us during our first year. Rosh Hashanah begins tomorrow at sunset. Around the world, people will celebrate this day of awe by blowing into a ram's horn, creating a distinctive sound. In our version, we'll chant Shalom, or peace, with rescued sheep who reside at Farm Sanctuary. The length of this practice allows us to sink into a deep space of meditation and flowing compassion for all sheep around the globe. As you watch the practice, I invite you to chant along silently in your head or audibly with your mouth, or just listen to the practice. Go for it, Phil. Bring us a memory of Erica and the sheep from Farm Sanctuary.
It's time for us to jump into our spiritual practice of the day. And I'm extremely excited to share with you a spiritual practice we have not done yet that is actually one of the most ancient spiritual practices. And it exists in almost every tradition of any religious or spiritual background. Today, we're going to be chanting. We're going to do some chanting with some sheep, which is going to be extra fun. A few fun facts about chanting. There's a yogi mystic named Sadhguru, the spiritual teacher, who often talks about chanting as, you repeat a mantra, but what's interesting about chanting is it's more about the sound than it is about the word. And the way he says it is that words connect us into the psychology of humans, but sounds connect us to creation directly. So when we do this mantra today that we're going to be chanting, we're actually going to chant a mantra from the Jewish tradition. We're going to be chanting the mantra Shalom, which means peace. And as we chant this mantra, I'll invite you to use the word Shalom or the sentiment peace to create meaning and to bring you into a contemplative space. But the invitation is to then allow that word and its meaning to take a background to the sound that is coming from the chant. And fun fact number 2, our vocal cords are actually designed specifically to be the vibration that we need for our own body's healing. So as we chant, as we sound, as we sing, as we allow noises and vibrations to come through these vocal cords and out into the world, we're actually receiving the perfect vibration of healing that our bodies need. So I would encourage you to take that in as well as we're chanting. So Phil, if you'll bring up our video, While the video is loading, and you can go ahead and press play. We've got a few seconds at the beginning. So I'll just invite you again to drop into a comfortable position. Find your feet on the ground. Find your seat in the chair if you're sitting. Find a comfortable position. And use your breath to anchor you into a place of deep sanctuary within. And as the chanting begins, I invite you to join in. welcoming you to chant along. Just lingering in the silence for a moment.
We haven't done a long practice like this in a while, and it was quite welcome over here. I don't know how it fell in your habitat. Also nice to see Erica and the folks at Farm Sanctuary. This year's animal chaplaincy training program, will have its retreat at Farm Sanctuary in June. So we'll be hoping to bring you back more goats and pigs and cows and chicken practices. So we're getting a little excited about that. As always, if you'd like to do this practice again, it's on YouTube. So I'll throw that link in the chat, as well as that promised mashup of prayer intention. Victoria, without further ado, floor is yours.
Hey, thank you, Reverend Sarah. It is always wonderful when our special spiritual guest, always special, that's why we call them the special spiritual guest, but sometimes they're one of our own. And that is the pleasure that we have today in bringing Lisa Levinson. Lisa is a member of the advisory board of the Compassion Consortium. She's also the campaigns director for In Defense of Animals. I just learned that part of her job is that she is the director of the National Goose Protection Coalition, because Lisa Levinson, like so many of you, will step up and go to bat for any creature of any body type, any species, just because life is one and she gets it. Welcome, Lisa Levinson.
Hi, Victoria. Thank you so much for having me today. It's really an honor to be here.
Well, it is such a pleasure to have you. So we know that you do have Jewish heritage, and we're looking at Rosh Hashanah. And you've also developed for yourself a beautiful sort of nature spirituality, kind of spirituality. So please help us understand what spirituality means in the life of Lisa Levinson.
Oh, sure. Well, I grew up with a lot of a Jewish heritage. My grandfather is a rabbi, and he's a Reform rabbi, and he's passed away, but he was a real mover and shaker. He actually was an animal chaplain in the Second World War, and that was one of his like treasured experiences, to be able to serve others in that way. And so I developed a lot of values from him and from my family and ancestors, let's say. So there's a level of compassion and of service for others. And I think for me, bringing that, expanding that circle of compassion to include animals and non-human animals was my addition to that.
Well, you've done so much. You're a co-founder of Vegan Spirituality and also of the Interfaith Vegan Coalition. So some people might not know about either organization, and some people may confuse them. So help us out. What are these two groups that you're behind?
Sure, I'm happy to clarify.
Mhm.
So many moons ago, I was the director of a group that I co-founded with Zipporah Schultz and Jim Harris, and it was called Public Eye Artists for Animals. So at that time, we were doing a lot of teaching compassion for animals through the arts, through various types of performances. We performed for the Philly Fringe. We did cruelty-free fashion shows, all sorts of things. But at that time, we were developing this wonderful community of people who we would call compassionate souls. And some of the folks were saying they wanted a like vegan church. They wanted some way to feel more connected to their vegan values at their places of worship. So we said, well, let's create it. Let's just create our own group. And at the time, one of our folks who were part of our group had coined the term vegan spirituality, and we loved it. And we said, let's do that. Let's call our group Vegan Spirituality. And so we held this group every month. We talked about what does it mean to be a spiritual vegan, and we looked at some of the historical practices and religious practices that aligned with our values. And we also hosted a retreat, and we're surprised that about 55 people showed up in the Northeast who were curious as well about what that meant. So vegan spirituality is exploring veganism as a spiritual practice. And so this is like an organization, or maybe you could call it a movement, because there are many others who practice this, this version of looking at compassion as part of the spiritual practice and compassion for all beings. So this was something that we helped to start a group that actually met and hosted retreats and created forums for discussion online as well. We have an online gathering that we've been hosting and interviewing various leaders in this vegan spiritual movement. But it's beyond that group and really involves so many people, including this whole group of Compassion Consortium and Will Tuttle, what he's been doing for years, and many practices that are also considered religions, such as the Jain practices of ahimsa. So that's vegan spirituality. And then when I moved to work at In Defense of Animals, from there, we decided to start a interfaith vegan coalition. And this is, I co-founded this with Judy Carmen, who is the author of Peace to All Beings and also of Homo Ahimsa. And we actually had a person who called us who challenged us and said, well, spirituality is and religion is the one place where we really need to improve our advocacy. And why don't all these groups work together? So we thought, well, let's try this. Let's try to bring together all the different groups who do vegan advocacy that are faith-based. And so it became a coalition or an umbrella organization to bring together groups that are either Jewish groups or Muslim groups or pagan groups or Christian groups. We have all sorts of religions that are represented in the Interfaith Vegan Coalition, and we have 65 member groups, which is super exciting. So we meet and we do advocacy such as go to the Parliament of the World's Religions, and we hosted about 25 vegan talks at the 2023 Parliament of the World's Religions to try to share the vegan gospel of compassion for all beings.
We did a pretty good job of it.
Yes,
I would say,
we did.
and hopefully that will continue. Lisa, you are one of the kindest, most empathetic people that I know, and probably empathic as well. And yet, in your work for the animals and your work for in defense of animals, you come to know of some things that humans do that are really abhorrent. And we don't talk about those things at the Compassion Consortium because we come here for respite, because some people like you are seeing or hearing of these things way too much. But how do you deal with knowing what's going on and maintain yourself as an animal activist and as a spiritual person?
Well, that is a good question. It certainly is challenging, and occasionally I dip into this wonder of how could people do such a thing to another living creature. But I also try to balance that with taking walks in nature, with taking special moments with my own companion animal, Miss Elsa the kitty, and trying to also practice. Sometimes if I hear of something just so treacherous, I will do almost like a meditative practice where I send love and healing, and I sometimes try to imagine that being receiving all the love and care and support and rescue that they really need, just to cultivate that kind of compassion. And it's really almost hoping and giving them this. If it didn't happen in their real life, maybe this can happen on some kind of spiritual level. So those are some of the practices that I do.
And right now, I think a lot of us are feeling a little bit more difficulty in sharing our activism. It seems like in recent years, even people that didn't want to join us admired us or left us alone. And now, certainly in social media, but somewhat in the real world as well, there seems to be a little bit more backlash about this way of life, about regarding animals as individuals, about not believing that they are ours to eat or wear or otherwise use for our purposes. So it's one thing to go out with an idea when there's kind of a tailwind and it's like, oh yeah, this is growing, this is getting bigger, this is great. And maybe a little bit more difficult when things are different. So how are you showing up each day as an activist and advocate in 2025?
Well, I show up just the way I would, regardless of what's going on in the rest of the world. I regard this as my path, and I, try to accomplish the goals based on that is what I came here to do. And I also realize that there's a lot of things going on outside that advocacy bubble that are really challenging and detrimental. And some of the things are pushing us backward in certain ways with the laws and things that we've gotten. Some of our victories are being undone. So this is a time to really hold the torch in a way. During the darker times, that's what we do. We hold the torch so that we still have a light and that we can find our way back to the better times where it's easier to see, where things are more illuminated and we have that tailwind. So I think that both are really important and necessary. And I can even recall at an animal rights conference years ago, I remember somebody using that metaphor of holding the torch. And I thought, yeah, that's part of our job as activists too, is to do that for one another, to kind of keep our faith alive during these times that are really challenging.
And you, in the past year, Lisa, have had to keep your torch burning and keep your faith alive through a terrible personal tragedy, the loss of your life partner in the fires in Los Angeles. So, how are you holding up? How did you use your faith and everything that you've been building all these years to move through? And I'm sure you're still moving through this awful loss.
Oh, yeah, this is a daily practice for me. And I've kind of devoted this year of honoring my partner, Arthur, who passed away. And I was very fortunate in that I happened to be taking the animal chaplaincy training program offered by the Compassion Consortium during this time. It was just the most wild experience that I had at my fingertips, all of these grief and loss resources, and a wonderful community to be able to feel supported within. And it was a challenge. This was definitely the hardest thing that I have experienced. Yeah. So those resources are important. And also some of the daily practices of taking time in nature, of doing things to honor Arthur, and including a memorial in person. Also, just recently, I built a medicine wheel from all of the rocks that we collected on all of our travels and road trips for all the years that we were together.
It's beautiful, Lisa. Thank you so much. We're all very sorry for your loss. When you talk about nature, and it's come up a few times in this conversation, and it comes up a lot just when I see you on the Interfaith Vegan Coalition meetings. Very often you're off somewhere doing a nature thing and you found some Wi-Fi anyway. So talk to us about nature and spirituality. I know that we're all here because we have a very open heart for animals. But I can just say for myself, I've never been one who wanted to be out in the woods very much. I was in a rainforest in Alaska recently. I spoke for the Holistic Holiday at Sea, and one of the shore visits was this rainforest, and it got me so like, oh my gosh, now I get the nature thing. But now I'm back in New York City, and I've kind of forgotten that I got the nature thing. So help us all get it.
Sure. Well, I'm actually at a retreat in the Sequoias right now, which is the beautiful redwoods in California. It's a raw vegan retreat, which makes it extra special. So I find it healing to be in nature. I love hearing the birds and the animals and seeing animals in their natural habitat. I like feeling the soil beneath my feet and the wind and breeze on my face and the sun, and for me it is a place of worship. It's a place where I find solace. I find connection with the universe, and I'm able to tap into the universe within as well. So I like to be in nature as much as possible, whether it's on the beach or in the mountains. Any sort of nature will do, actually.
Okay, well, let's move from nature to human nature. You are really good at talking with people. And I have heard you talk with people that I think some of us would just say, this is ridiculous. Just, walk off. This is hopeless. How can we talk to this person? And yet you always seem to find a way to communicate. I also know that the Interfaith Vegan Coalition is involved in gently trying to encourage people of different faiths to show more kindness to animals. One of the ones that I just love is this ongoing work that we're doing at the IVC to get people who are Episcopalian to stop having lobster boils. And a lot of people would say, oh, come on, lobster, no spinal cord. Why do you care about lobsters? But you care about lobsters and you care about them enough that you're willing to confront people who have their own way of seeing things. So tell us how you do this.
Well, I think this is part of what we all do is, educate others so that they understand a little bit more about why we care so much. And some of it is talking about the biology of lobsters, how they can live for 100 years or more, and understanding that, that they suffer as well. And reaching people who may not be able to make the whole big change of going vegan, but maybe they can access the compassion that they have to make one change, such as no longer supporting lobster boil fundraisers. There's so many other alternatives. And I think being able to present people with alternatives and also listening, why are they doing this particular thing? Maybe there's another strategy that could work equally as well. And then sharing that with them.
There is something that I believe comes from Christianity of judge not, that ye be not judged. And of all the people that I think are not judging anybody, you're on the top of that list. So first, tell me, am I correct? And if so, how do you do it when it's so easy to say, why can't this person stop whatever it is?
Wow. Well, I'm sure I've had these moments. But it's also just trying to relate to people where they're at and I think listening so that you can provide them with resources for whatever would be their next step. I think that helps me. And just also getting to know the person, if possible, if you have a few moments to do that, find ways to connect, because you might find that, yeah, you have some things in common that could help you with your advocacy. And it may come from unsurprising, from surprising, it might be a surprise from an unsurprising place. Even in a group of hunters, for example, you might find some compassion there and then be able to build on that and have conversations. So I really think it's possible. And especially if you become friendly with a person, they might say, oh, I never thought about it that way, instead of feeling, pressured or judged in some way. And I think also sometimes people feel judged just being in our presence from their own projections or emotions. I've had people just sit with me and cry because they felt badly or guilty about, eating animals when they're with me, although I haven't said a thing. So I think it's also part of their journey, and we are there to support and guide them.
Well, you have a very powerful presence. And I think that brings out the softer, maybe, side of people. So, Lisa, in our last couple of minutes, I know that you do all these cool things around the world and you take people places to really experience vegan spirituality. And I know you're going to be doing something cool in Mexico coming up. Can you tell us about that?
Oh yeah, this is a retreat. It's called Mayan Magic, Mexico Retreat and Tour. It's going to be put together by Vegan Spirituality and Alora Wellness, which is a vegan organic wellness center. They actually are having a chateau in France, but what we're doing together is this tour to Mexico with a guide who's going to take us into cenotes and all these different sacred places, but we're also going to visit an animal sanctuary, the Black Sheep Animal Sanctuary. So it's kind of a mix of things that would appeal to like the vegan person with wanderlust who wants to enjoy this, and also in the company of others who get it, who are with them, and to know and trust that the food would be vegan and their experiences will be kind of curated in that way. So that's something fun, and also a nice way to kind of restore ourselves sometimes having places where we can gather together. And there's the Unity Retreat that's been put together by the Spiritual Forum, and the Compassion Consortium has been very involved. And that's another way to kind of restore and replenish ourselves, I think.
And where do we find out about the Mexico retreat?
Oh, that one, the registration is through alorawellness.com. So I can put that in the chat.
Please do. Thank you so much. Lisa, I wish you could just put yourself in the chat so that we can pull it up whenever we need inspiration and calmness, because truly in any event, whether it's in person or online, you just show up and the whole energy gets a little bit more peaceful and a little bit closer to the divine. So thank you. Thank you for being with us today and for all you do.
Oh, I am truly honored and grateful to be here in the company of all of you. And I just so support the Compassion Consortium and everything that you bring to our community.
Thank you, Lisa. Jen?
That was lovely. Thank you, Victoria and Lisa. It was nice to hear a little bit more about you for those who haven't met you yet, Lisa. So that was great. And I love the hold the torch. That stuck with me with, yeah, that's a nice way to kind of deal with what's going on in the world right now. So thank you. So we have our Song of Compassion now. So during every Sunday service, we offer a song of compassion for your consideration and silent reflection. Today, as we gather to honor International Day of Peace, we are reminded that true peace embraces all living beings, humans, animals, and the natural world we share. It begins in our own hearts, flows into our homes and communities, and extends outward to touch the entire planet. The song we're about to hear brings that vision to life. It's performed by singers from all over the world, voices united across distances and differences to create one harmonious sound. Just as these voices join together, we too are part of a global community, one that includes not only one another, but also the animals and wild places we love and protect. As you listen, may this song inspire us to build a world rooted in compassion, connection, and peace for all beings everywhere.
Now I've been happy lately, thinking about good things to come. And I believe it could be something good has begun.
Oh, I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one. And I believe it could be someday it's gonna come.
'Cause I'm on the edge of darkness, there rides the peace train. Oh, peace train, take this country, come take me home again.
Now I've been smiling lately, thinking about the good things to come. And I believe it could be something good has begun.
Peace train sounding louder, glide on the peace train. Ooh-ah-ee-ah, ooh-ah. Peace train, holy roller, everyone jump upon the peace train.
Rendin chomkima arkidam fata seila de mangaron unade kadi fadima joni eto manjola ar abodam dam dam bunam dam wadadima unade fadima joni unsakongota.
Peace train sounding loud, glide on the peace train.
Oh, I've been crying lately, thinking about the world as it is. Why must we go on hating? Why can't we live in bliss? peace train. Come on, come on, come on.
Come on and ride on the peace train.
Come on, come on, come on. Let's come on, peace train.
Come on, come on, come on. Peace train.
Come on, join me. I'm jumping on the peace train.
Come on, the peace train.
Peace train.
Oh, Jen, you got me. You got me on that one. Seattle Awareness Week, International Day of Peace, and tumbling here towards Rosh Hashanah. There's a lot to celebrate. There's a lot to celebrate right now. And I appreciate that reminder that compassion to animals means compassion to humans all around the world as well, as Altmush let us know and doubled down on when he was recently with us. It's about humans, animals, and the planet. So let's turn to more good news for the month. First off, happy wedding anniversary to Jen Baker. Her husband Lucas has been an important part of helping us set up trade show booths at animal care and protection conferences, and we treasure Jen's other half as much as we treasure her. So just taking a moment to wish them another wonderful 27 years together. I also love getting good news in my email inbox. This past week, I got a newsletter from the Law, Environment, and Animals program at Yale Law School. I have no idea if I signed up for that communication, when, how, where, but I was delighted to learn about a couple initiatives that they are doing to use litigation as a potential leverage point for holding livestock corporations responsible for greenhouse gas emissions. The word livestock is very prickly to me, but this work is incredibly important. Scrolling their site, I also learned about bird-friendly building initiatives, and I am so in favor of those. So my heart breaks knowing about the 10 billion land animals who lose their lives to animal farming each year, and the 1 billion birds who die by window collisions. And we can do something about these window collisions, can't we? So I greeted learning about both of those programs as good news. And I'm looking forward to diving into them more deeply to find out how they can help us with animal lives. So let's take a deep breath considering, oh, that was a mess of good news and prickly things in there, wasn't it? So take a deep breath. And Phil is turning on the ability to chat. Turn on your videos. Do you have a loss that we need to attend to this month? Is there something going on for you? Or do you have a joy? Please put them in the chat. And folks, this is a community. Please, chat thread to each other, support each other in our joys and our challenges. This is a community of support, and supporting each other matters. And today I'm going to invite Victoria and William to share a little bit with us about a recent loss in their multi-species family. Victoria.
Thank you, Reverend Sarah. I think, Reverend William is going to let me do this. Well, this is Rupert, and he was adopted in December of 2022. We didn't know that he came from hoarding. We knew he needed a home, but we found out after the first home visit that he had been rescued from a place in Tennessee where the state police actually raided the place. There were 80 dogs there. And at first, Rupert had such PTSD, we just had to wait for him to learn how to sniff and know what a toy was and know that male dogs like to pee at different trees and things. These were all things that he didn't know, but what he did know how to do was love. And from the very moment that he came into our home, we were actually still grieving the loss of our previous dog Forbes from 5 months earlier. And Rupert came along with so much love. And William has had some hospitalizations, some health challenges. And we started calling this dog Dr. Rupert because he was just there. He knew how to be a healer. And I'm sure that many of you are relating to dogs, cats, and other beings that you have known who have been great healers as well. So we didn't know there was anything wrong with Rupert. I took him in for an ear infection on August 11th, and it turned out he had some sort of cancer. And by the time they determined which one it was so that they could treat it, it was apparently too late. And we lost this beautiful, beautiful creature in a beautiful passing. We were both with him. Our wonderful vegan vet, Dr. Justin Lamb, was there. And so this angel came from heaven and went back there. And thank you all so much for letting me just have these few minutes to celebrate the beautiful spirit that is Rupert Melton Moran, who passed just before turning age 11.
I am going to miss that little guy too. I had many occasions to visit with Rupert and Victoria and William and Thunder the Wonder Pigeon, and just such a sweetie. And I love knowing that he had a home with the two of you after the experiences that you describe that he had, and how wonderful that we can make these shifts in our own homes and open space to be able to help the little four-leggeds and two-leggeds and whoever else may need that. So may Rupert be happy and joyous and free in the what's next. His memory will continue on here at the Compassion Consortium alongside Forbes and alongside the other beings that all of you have lost and are part of this community, right? Are part of this community. So Victoria, thank you for telling us about Rupert.
Thank you. Thank
you. Sending love and big hugs. And for the rest of you folks who are adding your comments here in the chat, we're no longer reading these aloud since we post these services on YouTube, and some of what you're sharing is personal. But I really encourage you all to continue to put the hearts on the comments here and talk to each other and share about the support that you need from recent euthanasia decisions and health issues and human friends who were advocates who have passed in their sleep. All of these, we see these, we honor these. We know it matters to honor our losses. It does. And we know it matters psychologically, and I like to think it also matters spiritually. So holding that thought. Phil, could you bring up the birds as we close out today? Okay. So our final blessing today, we turn to that in anticipation of, does anyone realize Rosh Hashanah is coming up? I think I've said it a couple times. Victoria and Lisa mentioned it as well. One common ritual you may not know about during Rosh Hashanah is throwing breadcrumbs into rivers for fish to eat. And as many of us know, bread can be very harmful for many birds and waterfowl. It does something that's this pin kind of thing, and they can't fly anymore, all sorts of interesting things. So Rabbi Janet Madden, who was also a graduate of our animal chaplaincy training program, created what she calls an eco-sensitive alternative ritual for those unable to access flowing water. Boy, that's a long title there. But this intention of, what can be eco-sensitive to other animals and to water bodies? And also, how about people who can't get to flowing water, right? Some people can't get to flowing water. So the ritual is kinder to wild birds. That's why I've got some birds up here. By using wild seed that's tossed on the ground rather than breadcrumbs thrown into water. And we could also have a conversation about birdseed. And I have to confess, I have a book called Fodder about the ethics of feeding wildlife that I've had for over a year and I haven't cracked yet because I really don't want to read it. I'm in denial. So I will report back on that some other day. But I do have to think here that wild bird seed in this situation is certainly much better than breadcrumbs for the birds we're talking about, right? So I really appreciate this adapting of a religious ritual that's important and meaningful to people in a way that can be more sensitive to environments and to animals. So I'm just gonna, I don't have any bird seed. I don't have any birds here. I don't have any flowing water next to me in this hotel room here. So I'm just going to invite you, and I see Victoria still with me here. So Victoria, you and I, let's take a deep breath together. I'm inviting everyone else to do so. As we listen to these prayerful words put together by Rabbi Janet Madden. From the narrow place, I called to Yah, the living presence. I am here, present to all the ways in which I know I have missed the mark. I am here because I want to begin again. May all the mistakes I've made, the unkind things I've said and thought, the wrongs I've done, may they all be cast away. May my misdeeds of the last year be food for thought, reminding me of my mistakes as I commit to do better and to be better in this new year. Living presence, you will fulfill the wishes of our hearts for goodness. As these symbols I scatter on the ground of my transgressions are transformed to nourishment for these beings, so may my heart and spirit be nourished through the opportunities for goodness that this new year beginning brings. May my good deeds pour forth like water, like a handful of birdseed. May I do good and seek goodness. Amen. Thank you, folks, for joining me in this. And we have an interesting adaptation that was just put in the chat. Some vegetables are good to throw to birds. For example, cauliflower to geese. Had no idea. So I'm taking away from this ritual into the Jewish New Year that's beginning. Maybe reading that book and learning more about my love of feeding squirrels. Yeah, looking into the places where maybe we can grow our awareness as well. And make sure that the animals around us have nourishment that they need that's healthy. Nourishment of spirit, nourishment of body, nourishment of mind. Phil, could you bring up the final blessing slide? Victoria, will you stay with me for this one? Yeah. Everyone, we do this at the end of every service. We invite you into these words to say them aloud where you are or in your head where you are. As Victoria and I offer this closing prayer and blessing. May all creatures everywhere be happy and free. May the thoughts, words, and actions
of
our lives contribute
to this happiness
and this
freedom
for all. Victoria, what's your closing word for prayers?
I'm loving the Shanti, Shanti, Shanti today.
Peace, peace, peace for International Peace Day. Yeah, I'm gonna adapt that and say Om Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. There we go. All right. Without further ado, folks, thank you for joining us for Sunday service. Please stick around for fellowship. right after some short announcements from Jen. We've got 3 different great groups for you to pick from today for a little bit of fellowship and nourishment. Jen, why don't you tell us what is coming up for the next month or so?
Well, first, I want to invite everyone today to imagine that we're in a physical place of worship right now, and I'm passing a collection plate. You might not know this, but it's not free to put on a program like this each month. While the consortium's spiritual leaders volunteer their time, there are still many costs for technology, administrative support, and other things. Please consider donating now so that next month's attendees, hopefully including all of you, can continue to enjoy the same level of rich spiritual content. Right now, you can donate by PayPal or credit card by either clicking the donation link in the chat box or using your smartphone to scan the QR code on screen. We'll pause now for about 30 seconds so you can navigate the donation process if you'd like to donate today. All right. Well, now while I read a few announcements, remember Phil has given you all the opportunity to turn on your video cameras if you'd like. We'd love to see all of your beautiful faces as we close the service and move into our fellowship time. So please feel free to stick around and join us. A reminder that Chef AJ will be with us as our spiritual guest next month. Stay tuned to our newsletter for updates on the October service. You can register for next month at the link in the chat. Our Compassion Circle will be moving from the second Tuesday of the month to the fourth Tuesday of the month from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. On Tuesday, October 28th, we will be having a night of chant. If you are a compassionist at any level of monthly giving, please join us for this or another upcoming Compassionist Circle. These events are especially for you to give you a small group, interactive experience of fellowship, practice, and support. Come meet with other compassionists who are helping the Compassion Consortium sustain its mission and flourish more wildly in the world. No chanting experience is necessary. Just come and check it out. If you love what we offer or feel moved by our message, becoming a compassionist is an essential way to help us thrive and grow. By joining, you're making a conscious effort, offering that nurtures compassion for all beings, ensures the sacred space continues to thrive, offering the kind of healing support the world so deeply needs right now. Everything you see and experience here, the services, the teachings, the community we've built, exists because of you. Your monthly pledge directly funds this, so together we can keep advocating for animals, the earth, and each other. Join us today. Help sustain, grow our community, and be part of an amazing movement grounded in love, action, and lasting change for all life. Join us for Homo Ahimsa Rising, the Whole Planet Spirituality Forum and Retreat at Unity Village, Missouri on October 16th through the 19th of this year. Reverend Sarah will be offering on-site special practices for increasing interspecies spirituality. And don't forget about our monthly recurring gatherings for vegan meditation, activist well-being, and pet loss support circle. Details are always available on our website and in our monthly newsletter.